Most people have no idea.
So that's pulsing their bill back and forth like that. Do you think that's a smart meter, Sam?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that's the assumption I come up with as well. I just like to
You
verify
see
it
it like
when you're
the
here.
flashes there?
Yeah.
That's a smart meter on the power wire.
And because we have 4 or 5 homeowners, 3 to 5 homeowners on each transformer,
Yeah.
any one of the 3 to 5,
Any one of them.
because we're on the same circuit basically.
It's like
and
a
we're
big
on the-
power strip for all the neighbors.
So we have a secondary side, which is what we're on. Then we have the primary side, but because the electoral going from the neutral to the primary, we're actually connected to the whole wide world, right?
No, you're connected to a certain segment of the grid.
Right.
You're not connected to the whole world.
Well, but then
You're connected to the transformer in the ground, or the transformer on the pole. That's what you're connected to.
But it's also connected to the primary side too, because they're both connected to the ground. And goes from the secondary
No,
to.
nothing to do with it.
Okay. All right.
So all the neighbors are connected. Typically, 4 to 5 homes per transformer. Typically. Now in Detroit, it's worse. They got 8 homes per transformer, but because it's such a dense, you don't have a dense neighborhood. Okay, Detroit is very dense. Okay.
So if I would have paid my next door 2 neighbors on each side for the smart meters to be the old ones, that wouldn't solve the problem because there's 4 or 5 homes into it, not
Correct.
just 2 or 3 in this case. Okay.
And then what about going ground current, Bill? Could that get in the ground current and be picked up from even houses from further away? You know, from the from all the neutral.
Ground current everywhere.
Right. So the neutral's not
Because
big
that's
enough.
the way the grid is made.
Yeah, right. So neutral's not big enough to go back like it is in Russia and other areas around the world.
It uses the ground.
So with that being said, that could
So
be.
if you were to dig up a power substation, you see the big transformers and the big wires and the big
right.
insulators and stuff like that. Underneath all that is a huge copper sheet the size of a parking lot. Okay, and that's the ground path. So your home is bonded to ground via the neutral. Okay, so when the neutral wire is overloaded, what the utility does, it uses that bond to the ground and sucks because every single amp you consume has to go back to the power plant. Either goes back on the neutral wire or through the ground to the substation, which then routes it back to the neutral wire to the utility. So everything you consume must be returned to the utility.
Is that because it's AC versus DC? Is that
No,
what the
no,
difference?
it's just because it's just
how they made it.
that's how they made it.
Okay.
Okay.
And when you say ground, that's also the earth.
Yeah.
Right. Because obviously they don't run a ground all the way back to the substation.
Corrupted the whole ground.
Right. So we have neutral ground at the transformer, neutral ground at the panel, and they're all connected. It creates this big loop, and that's why when we go into the city quite often, the whole entire neighborhood is 4 or 5 milligauss.
Yeah.
You can't even get it down because if the outside's 4 or 5 milligauss, how can we get the inside below 4 or 5
milligauss?
milligauss?
Is they use the ground path as the water pipe.
Yeah, it scores an F. Who's the head electrical guy that does those scorings? I forget the guy's name. He is the guy that does it. He goes scores St. Louis an F.
Zipsy.
Yeah, probably.
A guy named Zipsy. Anyway, so what they do, if you ever drive down a street that has transformers on the pole, okay, you will see about every 3rd or 4th pole a wire coming down from the top of the pole to the earth, connected to a ground rod. And they bond the neutral to the ground so that anything that can't get through the neutral will go to the ground and then suck back to the power station via this big copper sheet. Okay? So if you're near a substation, you're going to get more ground current than you would if you're far away.
I think there's a substation on the main line.
You know how the K and N.
People within 300 feet of that ground, that substation are getting hammered. Okay? Now, ground, as so some people think, it's got nothing on it. It's just basically, it doesn't go anywhere. I got news for you. It goes everywhere. When the initial telegraph wires went in, the telegraph going from New York to San Francisco, if you ever research that, you'll see there was only one wire on the pole. You must have a return wire, or they call it counterpoise, in order to complete the circuit, which then causes the clicker on the telegraph machine to click when the guy presses the key on the other end. So they used the ground path as a return current. They didn't put 2 wires on the pole, they put 1.
Oh, wow.
So that's why a lot of the military men got sick and get anxiety disorders and things like
No,
that at
that's
the
another-
time.
That's radar.
You think it's radar?
That was radar. Anyways, so that's everyone. The electrical engineer knows the ground path is a conductive path. Everyone thinks that ground is not conductive. It is very conductive,
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it should be.
and it's more conductive the more moist the soil is. So, New Mexico, not so much. Missouri, very wet. Okay, very conductive. So you have to be cognizant of the fact that when you're connecting to anything to the ground, like some of these people buy these grounding mats, put them under their bed, thinking that will help them sleep.
Yep.
Well, it gives them an initial reaction in the first, I don't know, 2 weeks.
I tried it.
And then it faded, didn't it? Stopped working.
No, it wasn't working. It was making my sleep worse.
Yeah, because it's getting all this stuff from the ground, because the ground is the path on that grounding mat.
Right.
So it basically radiated back to you all the currents that were in the ground.
Right.
And you didn't even know it. I mean, there's no way to.
I found out a little bit after that. I stopped using it, but yes,
Yeah.
yes.